good. No worries.
Trust me, your tech stuff is a lot smoother than ours ever is.
You guys look really good. You're very well lit.
DC, for some reason over on TikTok, we're just showing the Zoom and YouTube. Let's see if we can get it pulled back up so we got our video there.
I have no idea what you're.
There you go. You're there. You're back.
Am I back?
Yes. Okay. It just took a minute.
Yeah. It was something I was doing, I'm sure, on my end here. So I think we're good. I think we're live on both of them with TikTokers and the TikTokers and the YouTubers and whoever else is in
and media everything land, in between.
Yeah.
All right.
So, yeah.
So, Laurie, thank you for joining us. We're going to do our intro and get started, but we really appreciate you taking the time as we get ready to get started. And DC, if you're ready,
I'll do it, man.
Let's get rolling.
Hello, world. This is Kevin from Fiction Factory, and you're listening to DC and DH on the DND Dynamite 80s podcast.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome into D&D Dynamite 80s. You'll notice a little different on the intro there. We had a little technical issue with the music, but we'll get that back here soon. So we're just going to ad lib and move on. But I'm DH.
I am DC.
And we're here to take another fantastic look back at the 80s. And DC, how's your week been, brother?
Very busy.
Well, according to everybody on
not to you, here, I know you're not busy on your end of the building, but
according to everybody on TikTok, they really don't care how your weekend's been, and they're just interested in who's.
Why do you keep asking me that weekly? Then I don't know.
Well, I'm hoping maybe at one point
that I'll have some kind of exciting answer.
Yeah. Yes, that you're going to have some kind of exciting experience, and we're going to get rolling. But DC, I'm excited to get this one started, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to send it over you to do the introduction while I finish pulling up the YouTube stuff. So
absolutely. We have an awesome guest with us, and first of all, Laurie, I want to thank her on this public format here that she follows and likes things and all that, and so she keeps tabs on us, if you will. So DH, you better keep straight on your plate here, buddy.
I'm telling you, I better get better at this job if we're gonna have somebody that actually tracks what we're doing.
Right. No, folks, we're thrilled to have, and she's back ×2 for us. We had her about a year, I think, coming up maybe a year in March. I think we had her in March of 22. I went solo, by the way. You were missing in action on that one, I think. So there
Not
you
unusual.
go. But Laurie Miller is one of the original members of Expose, and I've had so much great feedback back and forth, and she's spot on about being very efficient about getting back and with us and stuff. And Laurie, it's great to see you again. We appreciate you taking some more time with us tonight.
Thank you so much. It's always fun to talk about this stuff. I love these memories.
Right. So do we. Do we. It is a special time. We'll talk about some of that as well tonight. The 80s in general, how it affected all of us. So update us currently on some stuff you got going on.
I don't know where to begin as far as what's happening with freestyle and with Expose. We do have a full documentary coming out that we're all really excited about it. That's just all about the original version of Point of No Return. Remember, we went back and forth a little bit when you were doing some advertising. I'm like, can you please use the original version? I know most people don't even know that
that's right. And I was hesitant to do that, and because I knew it wasn't the original one, and I couldn't find it anywhere, like we talked about, where it would be on their platform. I think
they've done a good job on trying to make sure that's not around. But the hardcore
it's crazy.
Know about it, and it wasn't like we've been referred to as a lot of things. A lot of people really don't know the whole story, but we were definitely not the demo singers. We were the original girls.
Original one, sure.
For almost over 3 years, and got the album deal, and got put the whole album together. So it was until then that everything got crazy. Of course,
right.
Yeah. And I want to start with that question first, because I don't know if we've ever asked this question, and I'm curious. We may have asked one other performer this.
Right.
Is it a dog eat dog world when you start dealing with these record producers and all this? Is it a cutthroat kind of business sometimes?
Well, let's think about that time too, right?
Yeah.
So back then, every DJ was putting 3 girls together or 2 girls together or doing an act, and they figured like from the words from the mouth of Frank Diaz, who was my fiance at the time and the producer, like any bimbo could do this, which was really insulting, right?
Sure,
I mean,
exactly, yeah.
and it really wasn't the case, like if you looked at it just like that, granted, the song was great and it was out for 9 months before we even like got interest and got a deal locally. And so it was it takes a special combination of people to get that kind of energy and that kind of chemistry together to create something that has that kind of energy. I don't know if that answers your question, but
right. The chemistry.
I don't think just anybody can do it. It's not
no you gotta have that special chemistry, obviously.
That's what kind of leads into my question, kind of following up on that. There's been a ton of different bands out there, but there are just like a handful of actual bands. When you say you automatically know who that is, Expose is one of those. Why do you think that's the case?
I just think we were in the right place at the right time with the right song, and the right people saw us. And it's just so much like that in the music business. And we all had the right drive to want to go out and do 5 or 6 shows every weekend, and sometimes 2 or 3 a night. It was that. When you're doing it, you're just like your head's down, you're just like going forward. You don't realize until maybe now you look back and say, wow,
what a whirlwind. Yeah
it was crazy, and it was a different time. Like, people don't party like that anymore in the clubs, right?
Right.
I don't know. I wouldn't know.
I was gonna say, I'm so old.
I couldn't hang with them.
Club Soda, so I don't know.
Right.
It was incredible. It was just an incredible time to be in Miami and just happen to be in that that music. And when it was so fun. Everybody was just out having a great time and dancing. And that's really dancing.
That's kind of one of the, and I'm going to kind of steal one of DC's questions here that he kind of always asks, but that kind of leads me into, when you look at the music, it's still popular today. I mean, not just with those of us that grew up in the 80s, but it's across the board. Why do you think that music has such lasting power?
I think it's just like I said, the beat, and also, the Latino thing behind it is so, Lewis knew what to do to make people move on the dance floor. And we just got to be part of it. And the whole thing with the 3 girls and the synergy of that and the energy and the interaction between you and the audience, it's just, it's an incredible feeling. It's something that you never get over. To all my fellow entertainers, when you have that opportunity to go out and make people happy. And we had such a diverse crowd too. It was from very, very young, we did a lot of zoos and parks and stuff and teen clubs and stuff like that, all the way up to, us. And now it's like, it's still going. I got approached not too long ago to go out, and I was like, but I'm really old, right? I mean, like, girl, everybody who's doing that is your age. So, I mean, why not? And everybody's just, I think maybe it's just harkening back in the memory of a great time together. And when we went to the club, it was like about dancing and doing the latest thing and listening to the latest songs. And it was so much camaraderie here in Miami between all of the groups. We've all sung on each other's records. And unfortunately, that generosity wasn't always there. Not everybody gives you credit, right?
Right. Yeah. And I will say this, DC, I was asked to come and perform and,
perform what?
Play a little music and all that. And I was like, well, if it's past 5:30, I'm going to be in bed. So I'm done.
No, I'm too old to do the nightclub things and all.
The only thing I would be asked to perform would be lock the door when everybody left. That's
right. That's right. That's exactly right.
What brings you guys? Why are you such big fans of 80s music? I mean, it's not just 80s music, anything 80s, right?
Well, I'll be honest with you. We both grew up in the 80s, and And here's the thing about the 80s.
It was just a great time to be, to grow up.
It really was. And it was such a different world at that point.
Absolutely.
And you know, I was more into the hair metal and metal, but back in the 80s, we listened to everything.
Everything. All the genres and stuff. It was so much to choose from, I think.
Right. And I think
it was good stuff. You know, had meaning to it.
And it was a good time to be young and to be growing up.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just be honest. It was a good time. So
yeah. You know, and it was cool to be around when all the video and you know, the MTV stuff that's a cool experience that, you know, kids hear about that. Yeah, I know about MTV, but you know, it wasn't exciting like it was when it started out for like us.
We weren't afraid like we are now to go out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, they see, nothing is shock value to them.
Everybody was in a band. I mean, I started in a band, you know, that's where you really pay your vocal dues and you get in a band and you do 8 sets a night or whatever it is, 7 days, 5 days a week. Yeah, it was very competitive too, but we all went to see each other. We all supported each other, and it was like nothing to do that. Right now, it'd be like an effort. Is it really? It's not just because we're older. It's because, you know, it's just the whole everything we've been through in the past 3 or 4 years.
It's just, you know, it's just changed so much, and it's unfortunate that the young people face so many differences these days in you know what the world was. But I mean, the good thing is when you hear the songs and you guys perform the song, it still takes everyone back to that time. I mean, you hear the certain song and you can kind of remember, you know, what you were doing when you first hear it. Or what
brings up good memories.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah. So it's just kind of a feel good.
Absolutely.
I had a friend, the guy who's doing the documentary about Point of No Return, and he got everybody to talk. Lewis is on it. Frank is on it. Ali and I, we flew out to LA and we're on camera together. You know, Sandra's no longer with us, but we spoke very highly of her and spoke about her as well. So she's part of it. And it's just, you know, he had an old video of us, and ironically, it's from the nightclub where we actually saw Jeanette, who's now owns the name Expose. They are Expose today. And that's where we first saw her.
Wow.
I knew at that time that Ali actually wanted to leave the group. So I said to her, look at this, because we stayed and watched her in her band, and we talked to Lewis about her, and that's how she kind of got connected with us. But to see that this guy, Ray, who's Del Garza, who was doing the documentary now, and he had a video of us performing there straight on so we could see all the choreography. And I had done the choreography, but I hadn't like seen it in so long. We were so synchronized. It was so cool that I'm just so thankful that he has that footage. And if you got VHS out there, guys, it's getting to that time. It's that old that they're starting to disintegrate. So
that's right.
Because it's so cool to see it, you know, and to read it and to see what it was like.
It is neat to see footage like that. Absolutely.
I live for that. I just love it. I just love it.
Yes.
And I'm not trying to take anything away from the girls now. You know, they're still out performing and doing stuff, but they don't really want to know too much about us. I don't know why.
Well, and we've talked this before, that's
the sad
y'all were the foundation, you know, and that's important for people to understand and know that. And it's not to be forgotten, and most certainly in our platform here, it's not. No. We know where it's all started, and
I appreciate
praise you for that.
I mean, we were so glad to hand over the baton and, you know, hand it on to some of the worthy comrades, you know.
Sure,
the best.
Sure, yeah. I know you've done some other things with, you know, as I researched, you know, when I first talked with you, but we didn't get a chance to really talk about it. I'm curious about these cruises, the cruises that you've done performances and stuff like that. Is that well, is it that as well? But I've always been curious of this.
Amazing. I had the
very tiring, or, you know, is it different? I guess here's my question. Is it more tedious to do it like in a cruise situation than maybe like actually play in a place somewhere.
Broadway. Well,
Yeah.
you know, the theaters, I was on big ships.
Right.
Theaters are state of the art and
Yeah.
beautiful. And the casts are like, it's just so much fun. It's so much debauchery going on out there. I mean, I'm not a big drinker, so I was okay, but it's definitely breeding a whole new level of alcoholic out there, especially at that time. But now it's a different story.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I've traveled a lot. I've been sailed all over the world singing and dancing. And when you're a guest entertainer, I also did my own one-woman show.
Yeah.
I learned so much out there because you're like in this capsule with these people. You're sort of confined together. So it's like a big family. And I miss that so much, like I just sometimes when you're in it, you just take it for granted that that's something that you do, that you're in the wings every night going, let's go. And you can't wait to get out there with everybody and like move the energy around. I still have dreams about it, that I'm in the wings and they're going, go on, you're on. And I'm like, I don't know my costume. I'm working, I'm showing this, where am I? But I grew up in theater. My parents are both in theater. My mom put me in my first show. So yeah, if you were on Broadway, you'd be doing like 2 shows a night, probably, 8 days, 6 days, 7 days a week, whatever it is, it'd be a full on, you say 8 because you got a matinee in there too. And on the ships, it was like that, but we had 4 nights a week. And you're in a confined, like, my dad used to say, you're a big fish out there because, it's not as competitive as like going to New York. But I'm very nomadic. I really love the idea of being on the water and sailing. And, we had a wonderful life, the entertainers. I never do any crew duty, but I sang songs and did shows that I probably would have never picked for myself. And I think it really widened my range and widened my ability to be able to sing and dance and act and be a featured performer, but also part of a team. I just loved it. I did it for almost 14 years.
Yeah.
And I love being at sea. And there's very strict, it's very military out there because safety is always an issue. So, and there's so many young people that I'm still friends with today that I met when they were like 12
and
years
that's something.
old. And that, and maybe I helped inspire them, and moms that I met that realized that they were my age and that they didn't have to be, the age they were playing. I saw a lot of that happening, and people I've made so many really great friends. And the sad thing is you're away from home a lot. And then the other sad thing is most of your friends live on the all over the world. So you don't always get to see them. But thank God for social media. I have a page on Facebook where I post a lot of stuff that's called Princess Friends, and all the shows that we did are on there during COVID. Oh man, that was like the best medicine there was, to just take all my blood tests. That's when I learned like, oh geez, I got this just in time, because they're starting to like disintegrate and fall apart, and transferred them all. And I remember people saying to me, because I always had a camera, I've always been into photography and into documenting, everything that's going on. So what are you ever gonna do with this stuff? Here it all is. Aren't you glad I see?
You never know. You never know where you could use it. That's right.
I loved it.
That kind of leads me into, I know you're doing some producing now. And one of the things I always like
Sheikah, right? Is that the name of it? Sheikah?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sheikah Productions.
Yep. One of the things I always like to kind of ask is, to me, producing or being on stage, that's like 2 totally different realms. How do you kind of switch that, hit that switch from producer to star, from star to producer, kind of going through everything?
When you're a perfectionist, and you always want to, you just want to, it's fun to like create these illusions and create the lighting and create the atmosphere and create the situation. Now, what I do now, I'm not really performing that much as a singer dancer. I work we put on these, I work for Preferred Jewelers International and another company called the Continental Group. It's in the jewelry.
Still with them. Okay.
Yes. And we do these big trade shows. We do about 3 of them a year.
Yeah.
Which all require decor and cocktail parties and videos and music playlists and musicians and bands and, people that are going up and doing presentations. And I just love it that I can share some of my knowledge of all the years I spent on the stage to create,
your expertise in that area. Absolutely.
But it's, it's still, I get to use my whole bag of tricks. And now I do voiceovers, I do the announcing, I get to do all my artwork and all my creative stuff.
Right.
And all of that. And once in a while I get up on stage and perform too.
There you go.
So that's going to lead me into one of the most important questions of the night.
Okay.
Oh man. Oh
you
man.
know, we are like such professionals. I know you won't be able to give us much insight, but as a producer, you've agreed to take on D&D Dynamite 80s.
No,
what in the world can we do? help us.
I think I did your logo for you once, didn't I?
Yes. Yeah, you did. Yeah. So she's already helped produce us.
Oh, yes, definitely. I'm just we're just looking for more, any little
Listen,
insight.
You've got good microphones and good cameras. You're doing good.
Yeah, there you go. That's the big part of this, I guess.
We've come a long way from where we started with a phone and a microphone.
Yeah. A cell phone and a $5 microphone.
How many podcasts do you produce a week?
We do one a week. We do every Wednesday night at 7:30, and we are closely approaching year 4 of this. So
which is
really
crazy.
having a blast. That's unbelievable. Yeah. So, but we're also going to put it out there now. If you're ever producing this mega movie and you need 2 old guys to star, we're there. I mean, I can sit on a bench and act like I forgot everything because I do it anyway.
Right. Yeah, we could just be in the background, the crowd.
You could be the commentators over on the side, like those 2 guys in the Muppets. Sorry,
I like that. That's good.
Right. Where you don't have to say anything. You're just there.
Well, back in our day.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
It'd be like back when I had hair,
Right. Now, if I remember right, and I'm kind of looking at, I got my cheat notes, but it dawned on me when I re-looked at this, it popped back to me about, okay, DH, we've got, because I'd say our backgrounds and stuff that we have, she's an expert in like decor and lighting as well, and she does that stuff, kind of like she talked about with her work now that she gets to dab in that. So there we go. We can put it out to her like, that kind of stinks, and you need to fix that and get rid of that hat and don't do this.
She's showing us up now. She's got her lighting changed over, and here I am
right
with
on
the light.
I have a screen facing me, and it changes the artwork. Now I've got pink. I like it. It's sort of disco, right?
Well, DH, tell her about your mics. She might can see both of them. Like they change color. It's kind of impressive. I got the boring kind of set up, and he's got
here's
like.
The thing. I've got the shine coming off the head, so I can do this and kind of change up
all the way from the beginning and have a little Miami Vice.
You're going with the Panama look there or something.
Have you got the 2-camera shot that you?
Well, I want to act like I'm kind of done this before, which I really haven't.
We can just pull this out.
Oh my gosh, man! Did you wear that the other night?
Yeah.
Or last night?
Not. I should have, but I did not.
Yeah,
it takes the shine off my head.
Well, that would scared all the kids from your door. So you should have put that on.
Was there any kids at your door? There was
we did have a few, not near as many as we used to, but we had a few. But my fun was Saturday night. I went to Boo in the Park, and
there you go.
Saw that
down at the Nashville Zoo.
No, this was over in Smyrna with all the grandkids. With
gotcha.
The smaller grandkids.
Yeah.
So it was fun.
Gotcha.
But it's
Coulter. Yeah, the grandson came last night. He and his parents live out kind of out of the outskirts of town. So when he does his trick or treat, and he's 2, he just turned 2, and so he likes to come to Pop's house, and we took him around the neighborhood last night.
Speaking of him. On the 80s, right? You teach them all that music and tell them what.
Definitely.
Yep. DC, got to pass it on down. That's for sure.
Speaking of visiting and Halloween and trick or treat, it is time for the question of the night.
Okay.
For me to get the treat this week. Now, DC always says,
"Well, back up and tell her what is on the line here."
All right. So here's what this is. Every Friday morning, we do our recap of the show and talk about the show and what
our post conference.
What we need to do for the next show, which turns out the same as the previous show, but it's all good.
Doesn't help anything. No,
but we do that at the Waffle House every Friday morning.
That's our board meeting.
So we have a survey question, and whoever wins the question, the other has to buy breakfast. Now, the first one was Van Halen versus Motley Crue.
I got
I
killed
won
on
so
that
many times, it was unreal. So the second one, we kind of changed things up, and DC kind of
I
led
want to know her answer for this last one we did.
for the one before the one we're doing now.
Correct. So go ahead
So
and ask
that was
it.
this one, and this doesn't count unless I win. But it's Prince versus Michael Jackson.
Oh, you can't do that.
And I'm not going to give you any.
Man, that's the same. That's the same reaction we had with all our guests. They were like, "Man,
try
what
to influence anything by saying, you just can't beat a certain individual."
Oh, get out of here!
You just,
those two are so. But honestly, this probably won't be popular. But MJ,
I got it. I'll take that one as a win. But then
that one doesn't count.
That one doesn't count. But then we decided we're going to do something totally different. Instead of doing band versus band or an individual artist versus solo versus solo, we're going to do a band versus
solo and a band together.
Now,
here's our new one that we're doing.
This is the most important one, and DC always says I try to get people to vote my way and influence, but I don't. So I'm just going to be honest with you and tell you up front now. What you're choosing between now is Journey or Bryan Adams. So your choice is either Journey or Bryan Adams. I think I heard Bryan Adams. I think I heard you disqualified Journey.
I don't even have.
Laurie, thank you very much. That's going to be a breakfast that goes down very nicely on Friday.
Yes, you get that one on Friday.
Thanks for inviting me again. You're just the nicest guys. I have a question before we go. Can I ask one now?
Yes, and then we want you to tell everybody where to find you.
Because I've been talking to a lot of people, been working on my memoir. We talked about it before, and I'm working on this whole docudrama series about the 80s. So why don't we ask, how many people want to go back and have a peek back in the past and peek back into the club and see the hair and see the dancing, see the choreography?
Right.
Do it.
Yes, I'm going to tell you right now.
Tell the story, what really happened.
Yes,
sure.
And I'm going to tell you right now, I think that is going to be an amazing thing for you to do, because we've had so many people on that kind of do the nostalgia of the 80s and have a tremendous viewing audience that joins in when they're live or whatever. So I'm going to tell you right now, I think you are sitting on a gold mine doing that. I do too. I can't wait till you have the finished product out.
Yeah,
well, I might have to have you as my, it's consulting, my consulting team.
We'll be glad to consult on anything you need.
We would do.
And here would be my advice: anything we suggest, do the opposite. It's all good.
Right. then it's going to go smooth for you.
Right. There's a lot of stuff coming about the 80s. There's another one that I did with Maria Sokar, the producer, the director of it, and it's Freestyle Legacy. It's called. And it's on IMBD, and they're working on it. I've not seen any footage at all, but I had a long interview with them, and she was just so nice to work with, as you guys both are. And I really appreciate you inviting me back. Don't you have any other questions for me? Don't you want any dirt?
Absolutely.
Actually,
no, seriously, this did pop in my mind that I'm curious, and I didn't ask this last time. Who would be an 80s artist that you would have just went out of your way to be able to perform with, that you didn't you wanted to perform with?
It's probably not who you would think, but Ali and I both were huge fans of Basha. She's not a freestyle artist, Peter White and Basha.
Yep.
Yes.
Are you familiar?
Yes.
And if you listen to her sound, Ali and I together, we sang a lot, did a lot of the background vocals together. Our timbres blended really well. And we really loved on Exposed to Love when she says, no, never. And there's a part in one of Basha's songs, I can't remember the title of it, that we it always reminded me of that song, that part there, that harmony, and that
right.
They sort of had that sort of bossa nova thing going on with their music. You're familiar, right? Well, now you're going to be, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Who was a person that you actually met, one of these 80s, one of the artists, or even an actor or actress or something that the experience sticks out to you even to this day?
Well,
There's
there was
somebody that
one night
does
when we
that
were
to you.
performing in New York in a club, and Donna Summer
Uh-huh.
was there, and she came on
Wow.
stage, and I was just got smacked. I couldn't even talk. I was just sat next to her, and I kept staring at her, just trying to make sure
Isn't that something?
that it was her, and
Yeah.
she was
Yeah.
super nice, really nice. And most of the
Yeah.
people, when we're working, you don't really get to meet them, but we were actually, I was friendly with the guys from Mr. They were on,
Yeah.
what label were they on? I was out somewhere, some promotional thing, and I was hanging. They were super nice. And
Isn't that
Berlin
something?
was super nice.
Yeah.
It's not the typical, we were sort of, you never know when you're going to meet somebody. I remember we were on a plane once with InXS, all of
Wow.
us, all
Wow.
of us, and all of InXS.
Cool.
And that was like, we had fun.
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
had
that-
fun.
that
Everybody
does, yeah.
knew it was awesome.
Yeah. 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 Yeah, by the way, Donna Summer is actually buried here in the Nashville area.
I did not know that.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
I've actually visited her. It's beautiful. Tell you where it is, DH. It's out in Harper Hills.
Harpeth Hills.
Harpeth Hills.
Harpeth
I
Hills.
think is
Okay.
where it's located.
I did not know that.
Yeah, it's
Wow.
out in the Franklin, going Brentwood, Franklin area, all that,
Right.
out that way direction somewhere.
Right.
I think back then it was like Donna Summer and on the radio. I mean, that's
Mm-hmm.
before the 80s, but those were big influences for me.
Yeah. 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 I
Even
had,
when Madonna came out, I didn't
Yeah.
know she was a white artist when I first heard her.
yeah. Yeah.
That was going to be one of the questions that I always follow, and we kind of touched on this last time, but some of your musical influences that kind of led to your career, who would you say was some of your biggest influences?
Mm-hmm.
Again, like I grew up in a very theatrical household where my dad was really into Count Basie and Eva, I can't, it's all leaving my head now, Nelson Riddle and Stephen Edie Gourmet. And I mean, these
Yeah.
groups,
Yeah.
especially the big band music and all of
Yes.
that real
Sure.
group oriented music was such a big influence on me. I was into Sarah Vaughan, and I was really a jazz singer for quite some time. During and after, I always have really, when I was in high school, I was first chair clarinet. I actually didn't start singing until I was in my 20s.
Oh, wow.
And I think playing the lead on the clarinet for all those years, it like really trained my ear. Yeah, I was too shy. I never thought I'd be a singer.
Isn't that something? Isn't that something?
But when you get
I've
out
heard this
there
before. I've
in
heard
front
this
of
before from
everybody.
other artists. And
Yeah,
it's
and all
like
the
kind of
music.
shell shocked me. It's
Mhm.
like, yeah, when I was growing up, I was really, really a shy person. I'm like, you're performing in in front of
It's different,
thousands upon
it's like
thousands of people.
character that sort of, it's like you have permission on the stage to be that character, to
Isn't that
give
something?
that kind of energy, and it's a huge exchange.
Yeah.
In real life, it's almost too much.
Wow.
Yeah. Isn't that
That's
something?
really,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
That is
I
very
never-
interesting because, like I said, I've heard that a few different times from other artists. Very, very
And the
interesting.
girls and our choreography was
Hmm.
almost like a shield too, because we we practiced so much. And when you're, like I said, in the heat of it, when it all kind of fell apart, it was so disruptive. It happened so as quickly as
Mm.
we were successful, which wasn't that quick. It was over 3 years, before we really had big success. And then when the new girls came, it was already done. So a lot of times,
Yeah.
they'll say stuff like, it all happened so quickly, but they never recognized the girls that did all that work,
Right.
that made that easy for them to walk in.
Set
And
the
it's not
name.
easy,
Yeah.
to put 3 people together and expect them
Yeah.
to stay together. You've probably heard a million stories about groups like that.
Sure.
But
Sure.
boy, I sure do miss it. I wish Sandra was still here, so we
Right.
could maybe record
Right.
it one more time. But I'm so glad I had the opportunity to do it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's a blessing. Sure.
And kind of being that trailblazer for those that
Mm.
followed. I mean,
I think that was part of, well,
yeah,
because the hair and the makeup and I think that was part of the
That's
reason
right.
that I like to do the makeup, because it
Right.
made us even more like these characters, right?
Yeah.
right.
That's right.
Right. There was a point where I would do my hair, but I mean, that's kind of
Yeah, you had lots
now,
of, you had a
Now
lot
it
of
falls
skirt
out.
to
Yeah,
draw
yeah,
on,
mine's bald. I just cover it.
back in the day, I did
Cover it
have
with a
hair,
hat.
believe it or not. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I had
it's
hair
just,
back then.
it's just amazing the work that you put in on the front end. And I know at times it seems like some others are kind of reaping rewards from your work, and they are. But I just want you to know how much we appreciate you and what you've done and
Sure,
continue to do as
absolutely.
well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I appreciate them too, because I mean, they've been doing it for now, how many years now?
Yeah,
A lot of years.
yeah.
And they're
And kept the
still,
name out there,
Right.
they're still doing, they're
kept
still
the
doing
name out there and relevant. And yeah, I get that. Yeah, that makes sense.
awesome.
That makes sense as well.
So when are you guys performing again?
Well, it's like this. I was going to perform.
I don't
and they
plan
came
on
in.
performing much, that's for sure.
I was signed up to perform, and they asked me if I could sing tenor, and I said yes. And they said 10 or 12 miles away, so we can't hear you.
Right.
So then I
Dad.
retired.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. Right.
At that
Yeah, we
point,
get
I
asked that
retired.
sometimes, like, okay, so what y'all's like musical background? I was like, musical background? I'm lucky if I can turn some music on, let alone
What made you guys decide to do this podcast? So how did that happen?
We like
I'm not interviewing you guys now.
Yeah, I know. I see this. We're not used to this. So DC, I'm gonna let you take that one.
DH was the one that started this fiasco. He goes, man, we just ought to get together and like figure out some kind of podcasting for some 80s stuff.
Shoot the shit kind of thing, right?
Yeah,
Just
that's all it
hang out.
is.
Sorry.
And I'm like,
that's exactly what it is. We're just
that's what it was. And
yeah, we grew up.
So we bought like this cheap thing, we got right next a little microphone. Is like, dude, get off of me. I want my personal space.
We started out
kind of crazy,
kind of talking about the 80s and kind of things we experienced,
joking around and
like DC
reliving stories and stuff like that.
Yeah,
DC it's awful. What was it on? What was that?
It's still on our Spotify site.
Oh yeah, whatever.
But,
they're terrible. If you want a good joke or something that will like, you need to hear that disaster.
You guys in your 70s and 80s outfits, in your jumpsuits and platform boots.
Right.
One of our backgrounds used to be DC used to have up our senior pictures from graduation. Were behind us at one point.
Yeah, in the background. It might have been. Yeah, it might have been
one with me, the first one on me. Yeah.
Yes. Yep. I don't think I could fit in my.
I took that down because I didn't. I saw numbers dropping, so I thought, well, I don't know if it's live or like the pictures in the back or what's going on here. So
yeah, I mean, I
had to change up the
time.
view.
I have the people all the time ask DC if we could turn our lights down so our guests could be seen better.
Right. Where they can just kind of hear the questioning.
Right, just hear the questioning.
Well, and sometimes you must be a guitar player. You've got all those guitars behind you.
I play around a little bit. Yes, nothing on any kind of professional level or anything, but it's fine.
Are you in Nashville? Is that where you are?
We are right outside of Nashville in Smyrna. Yes.
Coming there next year. I'll have to
awesome.
Knock on your door. Yeah, we have a big trade show there in September.
Oh,
you'll have
fantastic.
to let us know. We'll all go to Waffle House and let DC buy.
Right. Right. No, you'll have a great time. And Nashville is definitely it is a big time happening spot now.
Yeah, definitely let us know. We'll all get together and
that'd be fantastic.
I mean,
love to meet you in person.
I know as you talk to people across the country and all now, you're going to say one of the biggest highlights of your career is you've now been on DND Dynamite 80s twice. I know that's just huge.
Some mullet wigs on right now. Jamming out. I think we can make it happen.
We'll have to get a picture and send it to her because she, what's weird is she knows us pretty well because we actually, I think in my desk drawer here somewhere, I've got a mullet wig for sure. So that's scary. She knows it.
It's all the rage now. I mean, why not?
Yeah, right. I mean, it's all coming back. I actually seen somebody wearing bell bottoms the other day and I was like, whoa, that was the 70s.
No, that was you. Okay.
They're coming back.
Look,
Now
that's the
here's where it's going to be
Awesome.
tricky is if people start wearing them parachute pants and all that.
Hey,
Now I don't need
Look.
like you said, we don't need to wear them because we'll start a fire from friction.
Look, if parachute pants
walking
come
in them
back,
things.
parachute pants come back, I will get another. It's going to have to be a bigger pair than before, but I will rock those
Right.
parachute pants.
They are
might-
coming back. I have to tell you. They are.
Oh, that's awesome.
They're out
Right.
there. I've seen them.
Oh my gosh.
Well, right
Yeah.
now there's a burn ban in Tennessee, so I can't wear them at this
No
point,
friction.
but a little
Right.
down the road.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And well, and the members only jacket.
Oh, I remember
If I
those.
put mine on, I'd
yes.
split it in two. I put on a pound or two since then.
Yes, I think we have, but oh,
Oh man. Well, Laurie, it's been awesome. Yeah.
Yes,
Tell,
thank
like
you.
DH said, tell us all about social media. I know where to find you, but everybody that's watching,
I'm
let
on
them know.
Instagram under LM Yoga Fusion, I believe. LM Shika Yoga Fusion, or Laurie Miller, Laurie, of course, Miller. And my website is my name as well. There's all kinds of videos on there, stories and reviews. I just had another record, well, not just about a year and a half ago, just came out in Europe, a song that I did right at the end of Expose, right after I left, called Love is a Natural Magical Thing, which unbeknownst to me had a little following on the music festivals on the other side of the world. And so
Wow. Cool as that. That's awesome.
Approached me and we released it again on vinyl.
Awesome.
Oh, fantastic.
We only did about 500, but it sold out like immediately. So it was a sought after sort of underground record that there was nowhere to be found. And there's another record I did with Ish called Parallels that we did on Atlantic Records that also was kind of, people are looking for it. So who knows, we might like re-release some of that old stuff. And
that'd be awesome.
That
would be fantastic.
That's something I've never done. I've always wanted to go and do the festivals, and that song Love is a Natural Magical Thing is so cool, especially the B-side, the dub version of it. Bob Rosenberg from Will to Power edited that back in the day, by hand.
Wow.
It's so cool. We just grew so hard. And I'm just really love that song.
That's that old school stuff.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Well, it kind of sounds okay for today, like
darn right.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Without any doubt for us. That's for sure.
Thrilled to still be doing stuff. And, I have a lot of other ideas and new music. I've wanted to get together with a friend of mine that I did some songs with back in the day too. Then we might go in and do a few things and see.
Oh, it'd be fantastic.
Definitely keep us updated. And
definitely when you're coming our way, holler out at us.
Any feedback, and anybody has any questions they want to ask me, just feel free to post it, and we'll get a little.
We'll do that. We'll stay in contact like we have off and on throughout this deal. And hey, by the way, her website is fantastic. It is one of the best ones, with all the different tabs that you can, check out everything. And it's very, very well done.
So DC, what you're saying is it's a lot better than what we did.
Yes. Well, that's not saying a lot, but hers is great. So there you go.
It's a lot better. How's that?
Right. There you go.
Right.
So hey, Laurie, stay in touch with us. It's great, to follow your stuff, and I do that, definitely. And I try to put likes to things, and we appreciate you. You've supported us, and like several great people that we've met through this, and that's a cool thing. We talk about that a lot.
Because I love to learn, so I love to hear about people's stories.
But that's what it's a special bond, that we love that decade of the 80s, and we can meet great people like you in this, and that's what it's all about anyway. So we appreciate it. So stick there for a second. We'll get our sponsors in here real quick, and then we'll let you go on with your evening.
Okay.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Again, you're listening to DND Dynamite 80s out of Nashville, Tennessee. We'd like to thank Laurie Miller for joining us tonight. Wonderful interview. Go back and watch it on YouTube if you missed anything. A lot of fun, a lot of frivolity.
And put your questions there, like Laurie
put your
said,
questions.
We'll check in on that.
And remember, folks, you can find us, DND Dynamite 80s, on Anchor, Spotify, Breaker Radio, Radio Republic, YouTube, Twitter, on the Instagram, on the TikTok, Facebook, on Google Podcast, and our website. Anywhere our old ugly mugs can be, we're going to put them there for you to see. give us a shout, give us a share, give us a like. We appreciate everyone tuning in as I end up every week before I send it over to DC. Folks, remember, it doesn't cost anything extra to be kind, so always be kind to each other. DC?
Amen. Amen, brother. Anchor is where we put that disaster of our
Anchor.
start. It was Anchor. When you said that,
That
it
was the
dawned on me.
first ones. Yes, that's it.
It's terrible. It's terrible
Hey, you
stuff.
guys should hit me up for a tag. I'll do a tag for you. Like,
Oh, that would be amazing.
hey, you're hanging with DC and DH from
Yes.
DND Dynamite.
We need to
We
make that
definitely
happen.
do.
It's yes, Lori. We need to do that. So
Yeah, yeah.
I
we'll be
love doing
contacting
those.
get that. That
Yeah,
would be cool.
yeah. Our good friend on
Hey.
the front end here from Fiction Factory, Kevin Patterson, does our little intro. Just a
Hey,
great
good.
gentleman from
I
Scotland.
We'll get
like
and,
Lori, if you don't mind, we'll get you
yeah.
to do one. I mean,
Yeah.
Absolutely. My
and
Yeah.
pleasure.
DC,
that'd be good stuff.
as I've said before, that's much better than what we did.
Right, what we do. What we do.
That's
Hey,
the theme of our show.
Hey, DH, by the way, before I close it out, next week we got a pretty cool deal. The Some Girls, all female Rolling Stones tribute band.
It's gonna be cool.
And these guys are out of California.
Yeah.
Very talented ladies. I think they do other types of 80s stuff as well. But, they kind of do a side thing with some other performers from other bands and kind of come up with this Rolling Stone thing. So we'll get some more info on that next week.
Cool. How are you going to fit them all on the screen?
Yeah, that'll be tough. We'll have to go with a large screen or something.
You have to get a bigger screen.
Right, bigger screen. So anyway, yeah, let me get the sponsors in real quick.
Yes.
We'll get out of here.
DND Dynamite 80s would like to thank their sponsors, Hudson's Flags and More, the Nesting Project of Smyrna, Tennessee, and PJG Marketing. You can find all these great folks online.
You most certainly can. And
Yeah.
a shout out to DH's son, who is Hudson's Flags and More. He's a vet, couple of tours of Afghanistan, and now serving the city of Smyrna as a police officer. We're proud of him. So
Very proud of him. Yes.
very proud of him. Good boy. Remember holding him as a small infant.
Yes, sir. You sure did.
I sure couldn't hold him now.
I was gonna say I don't think you could hold him now. Maybe together we could, but I doubt it.
Well, I don't know if both of us could hold him now. I don't know. Pretty stocky guy. So there you go. But anyway, yeah, it's DC. I guess I'm DC.
DH over here.
Or you want
so-
to be DH or you want to be DC? Who you want?
You know
to be?
what? Since DC won this week, I'll be DC and get the free
Okay,
breakfast.
there you
How's
go.
that?
Okay. So yeah, as DC always tells you guys, keep playing those 80s. We'll see you next week.
Bye, everybody.
See you next